Hi, I'm Just a Jester, or Just Jester, and I'm a Trickster main, yippee! And as a Trickster main, I like to throw knives over and through stuff, but sometimes there are invisible walls in weird places that make it hard to do cool shots. And sometimes it's so annoying, I decided to make a video about it, and spend several days non-stop working on it. By the way, this doesn't just have to affect Trickster, but also other killers like Slinger, Huntress, Unknown, Xeno, etc. Now, before I begin, I'd like to put them to 4 tiers. First, shouldn't affect most matches, or even ever. Second, annoying when it happens. It can happen from time to time, and it's annoying when it does. Third, loop changing. The invisible walls deny some throwing spots and force you to throw differently. And lastly, the whole reason why I made this video. I spent several days testing maps, making and editing this video because of this loop. And I don't know where I should even start. The thing is, it wasn't always like that. It used to be... Sorry about that, I got a little bit too emotional. Anyways, I want to clear up one thing before I begin. I'm putting the invisible walls in these tiers based on my opinion on how severely they affect the Trickster. Oh, and one last thing. When I said I checked every map, I didn't check every map variation. And when I say I didn't check every map variation, I don't mean stuff like Wrecker's Yard and Blood Lodge. I mean stuff like the 5 variations of Badham. Now, let's begin. First, on the tier of shouldn't affect most matches, these gates on the Temple of Purgation. Sometimes there could be a survivor on the other side and you want to try and hit them. Who knows? Second, this Rampant Ormond Lake Mine. This could be in between you and a survivor and you either need to aim at their legs or walk around / back to hit them. Next, we have the bottom windows along the stairs of main building on Ironworks of Misery. Blocks a few creative shots, but you can use the upper windows if you really need. This mainly affects killers like Huntress and Unknown, but I found it, Trickster can use it somewhat, so I'm adding it. Next, these stumps on the Withered Isle realm. You need to aim slightly higher than it appears, but since you don't need to aim that low, it doesn't have major effects in my opinion. Next, the small area in Abyss window in Auto Haven. To be honest, I find it weird that it's there in the first place, but oh well. Next, the window next to the top of the stairs in main building on Blood Lodge. Strangely enough, it doesn't affect any other window, even the window at the top of the corner of the main building. Next, these doors on Grim Pantry. There isn't much I can say about this except for the fact that it looks like you can shoot through it, but you can't. Next, this mesh in Family Residence main building. I would say this applies to all other meshes with holes, but this is the only mesh I found that has holes. Unless I'm blind and I didn't notice, which isn't that unlikely. Next, we have this garage door on Gas Heaven. This is another invisible wall that affects other killers like Unknown and Huntress more than Trickster. Okay, we are finished with the first tier. Let's go on to the next one, unknowing when it happens. First on this tier, we have this stair on Hawkins. Stairs in general are inconsistent. Sometimes you can shoot through them, sometimes you can't. Next, this pillar in a classroom on Midwich. This pillar blocks off some shots, but I don't see a position where it screws you over, unless a survivor's running around it. Weirdly enough, this issue doesn't affect a pillar in a different loop. Next, the twigs on the Eerie realm. The twigs in general are annoying, some still have collision, some don't. Next, this small shack on Shattered Square. This also applies to the other crevices on this shack. Next, the back of this tractor on Coldwind. I'm not sure if this was intentional or not, since there isn't an invisible wall on the other side. Next, the windows in main building on Azeroth's resting place. I mean, I could just walk around it, but let me throw through the window behavior, please. Next, the survivors' hitboxes when they fill up blood gens. This has nothing to do with invisible walls, but it's annoying that their hitboxes are smaller than they appear. I think it's like that because behavior reused the same hitbox that survivors have when they're fixing normal gens, instead of making new ones. So, that's great. Next, this small area on Double Landing. You could say this isn't that important. I say I missed out on a few headshots because of it, and I'm going to be petty. Next, the bottom of the windows in main on Gas Heaven. I hope you know I missed out on a few hits because of this since the survivor was crouching. Next, this body on Nostrum. If you're going to add invisible walls to something like this, at least don't leave a big hole in the middle of it. It just lays there tempting me to try and throw knives through it. Next, this pillar on Ironworks. There isn't much I can say except, why? Next, these types of cars. It seems like there's an extended hitbox towards the front of the car, but you're able to ignore it if you press yourself up against it with trick blades out on. Next, this mesh in Shack on Yamaoka. The thing is, the hole is really small, so it could just be my bad aim. Next, this mesh on main building of Sanctum of Wrath. This one isn't really that big of a deal since the walls are really short, but it still would have been nice to be able to throw through them. Next, these stairs on the big boat in Pale Rose. Well, it isn't really the stairs' fault, more like the invisible wall on the rubble below it. Anyways, you get what I mean. Next, these panels on Disturbed Ward. I kinda expect them to put a different texture on it instead of fixing it. Next, we have the trees on Badham. Like every single tree, for some reason. You cannot throw through the trees because why should you? Reminder, I didn't check every single Badham map, so this could only apply to one Badham map, but I doubt it. Okie dokie, we are done with that tier. Now let's move on to loop changing. First on this tier, the office chairs on the second floor office loop in West Wing. Holy shit, that was a handful to say. Anyways, on this loop you are forced to remember where the invisible walls are from experience and throw more precisely. Next, these pipes on Badham. Because of this, you are denied 2 to 3 hits, which could make a difference depending on the situation. Next, this corner loop on Larry's. This doesn't really matter if you have the Trick Blades add-on, but let's be honest, not everyone's using it. Next, these stairs on Hawkins. I know I already went over the stairs on Hawkins, but these ones make it harder to down a survivor as Trickster on this loop. Next, we have this loop on Ormond. You are forced to walk down the survivor instead of trying to throw knives through the wheels, which is kinda annoying. And we are done with that tier. Now, one last loop. The whole reason why I made this video and slaved at my monitor editing this. This is the loop that broke me. I have lost knives, games, my sanity because of it. And guess what? There are 2 of them right next to each other, so it doesn't matter if you get rid of the palette. It wasn't always like this. You used to be able to throw over it, but then they changed it for God knows what reason. Anyways, thank you for watching my rant. Have a great day.